This summer, during record-breaking heat, Texans have been asked to use less water and less electricity because of drought conditions and an increasing demand for energy. But a KXAN investigation found a new effort to modernize water meters in Austin is also adding to the burden on some homeowners.
Each month, my water usage goes up and up and up.
KXAN investigative reporter Mike Rush explains the high water bills and frustrations over the new technology.
And good morning to all of you joining us here on KXAN Live. Will Dupree coming to you from the KXAN Live studio. Hope you are having a good day so far. We are back with our conversations with the KXAN Investigates team. We're going to try to highlight some of the latest reporting and other efforts that are being done by our great group of journalists here at KXAN. And joining me, as she has over the past few weeks, is KXAN investigator Kelly Wiley. Kelly, thank you for being here.
Hello, thank you for having me. We've been not here for a while, or I haven't. You've been busy.
Yeah, it's been a little busy. We've been covering the Ken Paxton impeachment trial, about 2 weeks or so of that. So we're switching back to our regular programming, getting back on the train with some of these other streams that we're doing, including this one. So Kelly, tell us about what we're focusing on today.
So today we're discussing an effort to modernize water meters in Austin and the issues that it's causing for homeowners. Mike Rush is joining us, our colleague is joining from home. Hi, Mike.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good. So let's jump right in. I watched the investigation and a lot of people were very interested in this report. You talked to people who have gotten these new smart meters. What did they tell you is happening?
Well, the thing, Kelly, is that they were telling me the same thing. I spoke to two separate customers. They just both happened to live in North Austin, and they both got their smart meters in the spring of this year, right around the same time. And what they were telling me was the same thing, that once these meters were hooked up, these digital meters, they changed them from analog to digital, they started to get these outrageous water bills. One lady, Lori Latimer, tells me that she in 1 month used, or according to her meter, used 11,000 gallons of water.
Wow.
For perspective on that, her bill from the previous year during the same time period was 3 times less than that. So, and she had changed nothing. No more people moved in. She wasn't watering her lawn or washing a car. She doesn't have a pool. So it was just not explainable. Then there was another person I spoke to, Gabriella Olivares, and she told me that when she got her smart meter, the same thing. She started getting charged for things that just didn't make sense. For instance, the Mother's Day weekend, she was gone the entire weekend. Nobody was at the house, and yet several gallons of water were registering the time that nobody was there. So she had to bring in, she called Austin Water, and this is also a common thread between the two of them. They both contacted Austin Water. Austin Water came out and checked over their meters, and both times said, there's nothing wrong here. Olivares kept trying, and on the third time, what she found out, Kelly, was that the wires were crossed between her meter and her neighbor's meter, so she was being charged for the amount of water that her neighbor was using. So just a big mess in her case.
So persistence worked in her case. Is this a one-off with these two people, or did you find this is a systemic issue?
It's hard to say. We tried very hard to find that out, but I'll tell you some of the difficulties that we had with it in just a sec. But let me kind of couch the whole thing and let you know the extent of the project. It's a very big project, a 5-year project that started in 2020. It'll end in 2025. There are 250,000 analog meters that are being switched over to digital meters. It's about a $95 million project. So you would think, they have some very specific records on this project. What we found out is for this, they do not. We had requested information from Austin Water to find out how many people were having the same sort of problem where complaining that once they got their new meter, that they were being charged water usage that they felt was not correct. Well, Officer Water gets back to me and says, well, they don't keep those kinds of records. And the reason they said was because when people complain about that or anything else, they can do it through many different channels. They can do it through the city utility department. They can do it through Austin Water's customer service. They can do it through a portal through Austin Water as well. And they say that all those things are not connected. And in order for them to do it for us, to fulfill that request, it would take a team of their employees, they said, Kelly, 40 hours and $700 that they wanted to charge us in order to do it. So we didn't do it, and we don't exactly know how widespread the problem is. And the issue is that Austin Water doesn't seem to know how widespread that issue is either.
And you would think with a new program like that, there would be an interest on their part in figuring out if they do have a problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like, not in the water business, but that seems like something that you would want to have, is that important customer feedback. And then, the other problem is I told you that the one resident got her problem fixed because she was persistent. She kept calling, and they came back, and on the third time they figured it out. First customer, Lori Latimer, she still doesn't know what the problem is. And so whether the wires were crossed or whether there's a leak somewhere on the water side of things, they don't really know. And as far as she tells me, Austin Water is not doing much, if anything, to try to figure out what her problem is. And so she's just kind of stuck. And how many other people are like that, we don't know. I do know that after the story originally aired, I did get a few more emails from customers, viewers of ours, that said they were experiencing similar problems.
Well, I know people are going to be watching out for more information on this, because there's nothing, I think, more universally frustrating than a high surprise water bill and then maybe getting it over and over and over again after that. Mike, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure. Nice to see you.
All right. Kelly, thank you so much for bringing that conversation to us from Mike Rush, and we appreciate Mike joining us here early this morning in our chats too. Let's just talk about, Kelly, what these streams, the ideas for these are, because what we really want to focus on is the work that you and all of our really talented team of journalists in the KXA Investigates group is doing right now.
Yes, I mean, the point really here is to take you behind the headlines. So often you're reading these stories and we get, like Mike said, more and more questions and inquiries after the fact. And so it's another opportunity for us to talk to the investigator. There's so much sometimes that don't fit into these stories that then we get to hear so much perspective and insight. So we'll hope that if there's an investigation that you're really interested in, join us. Most likely we'll be talking about it right here. We'd love to get your requests. If you saw an investigation that you want to know more about and you like to have us bring that investigator into this conversation, we'd love to do that here. But I think looking at our calendar ahead for the coming months, there's going to be some really high impact, interesting investigations, some heavy hitters that we'll be talking about in here. So I'm excited.
And that's what we call a tease.
A deep tease. There we
right.
go.
All right. Well, Kelly, thank you again for joining us here this morning. And of course, we'll see you back here next Wednesday morning.
See ya.
All right, everybody. You can read Mike's full story on KXAN.com. Please check it out there if you want to read a little bit more. We're going to send you on your way now. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Take care, everybody.